Hello everyone, nice to meet you again. In this video, I'm going to show you how I'm going to find the inverse matrix by using the elementary row operation, that is ERO. So to find the inverse matrix, first of all, we have to form the augmented matrix in the form of A and identity, and you are allowed to do the following ERO process. First, you are allowed to interchanging the I row and the J row. Secondly, you may multiplying the I row with a non-zero constant. And thirdly, you are allowed to adding a multiple of J row to the I row. Well, what is the proper working solution step? Okay, first of all, you have to form the augmented matrix, and then we look at the first column first. Okay, in the first column, we are going to log the A11 and try to change the A21 and A31 to 0. Okay, after that, we go to the columns 2. We log the element of A22 and we try to change the A12 and A32 to 0. And then we go to the column 3. Okay, we log the element A33 and try to change the A13 and A23 to 0. So after that, we are going to stop when we are going to get the form of the augmented matrix in the form of identity and A inverse. Well, let me explain it more clearly. Let's say I have an augmented matrix of the matrix A and identity. Okay, I'm going to do the ERO process of these three process: interchanging, multiplying a constant, or adding a multiple of J row to the I row. Okay, so finally, I will get an augmented matrix in the form of identity and A inverse. So you just simply copy this matrix. So this is the inverse matrix. Okay, let me explain with the real examples. Okay, for example, I'm going to find the inverse of matrix B by using the ERO. Okay, first of all, I'm going to form the augmented matrix. So this is my matrix B and this is my identity. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to look at my first column. Okay, in my first column, okay, I'm going to log my element A11. So I just copying down the first row. And I'm going to try to change the element of A21 into 0. Okay, what should I do? The ERO process is that I'm going to change my row 2. Okay, I use my row 2. Okay, minus the 2 times the row 1. Okay, so row 2 is 2. Okay, minus the 2 times the row 1. So this means I'm going to get the 0. So I do the same process. So I'm going to get the 2 minus 2. So I will get 0. Okay, I proceed to my next element. Okay, I have to do the ERO process for the whole row. So I repeat the same formula. So I use my row 2 minus the 2 times the row 1. So 2 minus minus 2. So I'm going to get my 4. Okay, I proceed to this element. So I'm going to use the same process. So I'm going to have my row 2 is the 0 minus the 2 times the row 1. So I have my minus 2 here. Okay, I proceed to the last element of this. So I proceed with the same formula. So I have the row 2 minus the 2 times the row 1. So I'm going to have the 1 minus 0. So I have to get my 1. So I have done my first ERO process for the second row. So I just simply erase, okay, the working step that I have done. Okay, so now we proceed to the second column. Okay, in the second column, okay, I'm going to look at here. Okay, in my second column, I'm going to log my row 2. Okay, so I just simply copy down my row 2 because without any changes. So I just copy 0, 4, minus 2, and 1. Okay, now we look at this. Okay, element of row 1 in A. So I have my row 1, the new row 1. Okay, how am I going to make it 0 if I have the row 1 with the minus 1? Okay, this is the row 1, and the row 2, I have the 4. Okay, what should I do is that I have to use the 4 times the minus 1 plus. So that means that I use the formula of 4 row 1 plus the element of row 2. Okay, I'm going to use this process for each single element for the row 1. So that means that, so this one I definitely will get 0. So I proceed the same formula for this element. So I may have my 4 times 1, okay, plus 0. So I'm going to have my 4 here. Okay, I do the same ERO process for the next element. That is this. Okay, so I may have my 4 times 1, okay, plus the minus 2. So that means that I'm going to have my 2 here. Okay, and finally, I do this ERO for this process. So I may have my 4 row 1 plus the row 2 itself. So 乘 diri sendiri. So that means that for this element, I will have my 1 for the first row. Okay, then I just simply erase all the working step, calculation step, okay, for this. Okay, then finally, only since I'm going to form my identity, so I just simply circle the first element here. For here, I'm going to make it become 1. So how I'm going to make it become 1? So I may use the second process. I multiple. Okay, my R1. Okay, R multiple is 1 over 4 R1. Okay, so I may have 1, 0. Okay, 2 over 4 is 1 over 2. And here is 1 over 4. Okay, so same thing. I'm going to make this 4 become 1. How am I going to become 1? So I may have my row 2. The new row 2, I multiple with 1 over 4 row 2. So I may have my 0 multiplied 1 over 4, you get 0. 1 over 4 times 4, you get 1. So this one, negative 2 times 1 over 4, you get the negative 1 over 2. And 1 times 1 over 4, you have the 1 over 4. Okay, finally, you get our identity. And here definitely will be your B inverse. So you just answer it. Therefore, the B inverse is, okay, the B inverse is 1 over 2, okay, 1 over 4 minus 1 over 2 and 1 over 4. So this is how we use the ERO process, okay, to find our inverse of matrix 2 by 2. Okay, let me proceed to you another example with the matrix of 3 by 3. Okay, so first of all, we do the same process. We form the augmented matrix, okay, with the matrix of B and identity. Okay, so first of all, we just look at the first column. Okay, since we are going to log the first row, okay, so we copy down the first row first, 1, 2, 1, and 1, 0, 0. Okay, we look at the second element here. So it's already 0. So that means that we are going to not changing anything of this row. So we just copy down because it's already 0. Okay, 0, 1, 0. Okay, and we look at the third row here, this one. So it means that it's still 1. So we have to do something of the row to become 0. So that means that I have to change my row 3, new row 3. So my row 3, okay, reference to the row 1 because we lock the row 1. Okay, so row 3 is 1 and the row 1 also 1. So this means that I just minus that 1 minus 1, you will get 0. So my ERO process will be R3 minus the R1. So R3 minus the R1. So I'm going to get my 0 here. And 2 minus with R1. So 2 minus 2. So you will get 0. Okay, the third one, 3 minus 1. Okay, this one is 3 minus 1. I'm going to get my 2. Okay, so for this element, so you have the 0 minus 1. So you have the minus 1 here. And 0 minus 0. So you have the 0. And 1 minus 0 is 1. So we have done our first column. So we just simply erase, okay, all the calculations that we have made. Okay, now we proceed to the second column. Okay, for the second column, basically, okay, we are going to log the row 2. So I just simply copy the row 2, 0, 1, minus 0, 1, 0. Okay, so I look at my element of this. Okay, this one is still 2. So that means that I have to do something. Okay, I have to do something to make it become 0. So the element will be the row 1 new. Okay, row 1 with the row 2. Okay, now the row 1 is 2, the row 2 is 1. So I have to make it 0. That means that I have to use the formula of 2 minus 2 times 1. So that means that R1 minus the 2 row 2. Okay, R1 minus the 2 row 2. So we repeat the same ERO process for this whole row. So R1 minus the 2 row 2. Okay, I have my 1 here. And R1, 2 minus 2. So that means that the second one is 2 minus 2 times 1. So you will get 0. Okay, then proceed with the third element. Okay, the third element is 1. Okay, 1 minus 2 times 1. So this one is 3. Okay, then the next element is 1. So 1 minus 0. Okay, 1 minus 0. So it's 1 here. And the next element 0 minus 2 times 1. So this is 2, 0. Okay, 2 times 1. So it's negative 2. And 0 with 0 is 0. Okay, so we have done our, the first row. So we just erase this. Okay, we look at the third element. Okay, so that means that, okay, luckily this one is already 0. Already 0. So that means we don't need to do anything. So we just copy it exactly as it is. Okay, we just copy down. Okay, so Thirdly, finally, we look at the third column. Okay, the third column, we are going to log my row 3. Okay, column 3, I log my row 3. So I just kindly copy down my row 3 first. -1, 0, 1. Okay, we do one by one. The first element, okay, that is 3. Okay, since the 3 is the element of row 1, okay, so I use my row 1 and my logger is the R3, row 3. So that means that my row 1 have 3, my row 3 have 2. Okay, row 1 is 3, and so row 3 is 2. So how I'm going to make it 0? So very easy. I just simply multiply the 2 here times 3 minus the 3 times 2, you see, you are going to get 0. So this means I use the same formula, 2R1 minus the 3R2. So I repeat the same process for each element. So 2 times 1 is 2, 2 minus 0, so you get 2 here. And 2 times 0 is 0, minus the 3 times 0, so here is 0. And 2 times 3 is 6, minus and 3 times 2 is 6 also. 6 plus 3 minus 6 is 0. So this is the 2. 2 times 1. 2 times 1 is 2. So here, sorry, you see, 2 times 1 is 2, minus 3 times minus 1. So you are going to get the value of 5. Okay, so wait, let me erase. So this is the value of 5. Okay, so then we proceed with 2 times minus 2, minus like 3 times 0. So you have the minus 4 here. And the last element will be 2 times 0 with the 3 times 1. So you will get a minus 3. Okay, so we erase this. If you can do the calculation without writing out, then you can just proceed. Never mind. Okay, we can calculate by using calculator, or you can calculate manually like me. Okay, so then we look at the last element is this 2. Okay, the 2 is from row 3. Sorry, it's not row 3. So we look at the next element. Next element is the -1. Okay, -1 is the row 2. Okay, so row 2, so you must use the row 2 with row 3. Okay, row 2 is -1, row 3 is 2. So this means I have the 2 times -1 plus. So I use the same process, dual, okay, 2R2 plus the R3. So I do the same ER process. So 2R2, okay, 2 times 0 plus the 0, so you get 0. Okay, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 plus 0 is 2. And 2 times -2, 2 times -1 is -2 plus again -2, so you will get 0 here. And 2 times 0 is 0 plus the R3. R3 is the -1, so you get the -1 here. And here you will get the 2. And then finally 0, 2 times the 0 is 0, 0 plus 1, so you will get 1. Okay, you will get 1. And then finally, only we look at the leading diagonal. Okay, you look at the leading diagonal. Okay, so we look at the first leading diagonal. Okay, here it's still 2. So how are you going to make it 1? So to make it 1, so I have my R1. I multiply with 1 over 2, the R1. So this means that, so I have the 1, 0, 0. Okay, 5 over 2, minus 2, and minus 3 over 2. Okay, so for the second element also, the R2. So the R2, the new R2, I multiply with 1 over 2, R2 also. So in order to get identity 1, so 0, 1, 0. So minus 1 over 2, 1, and 1 over 2. And finally, we look at the last element here. So I have to divide by 2. So I have, this means that I have to use the same process. R3 new is the 1 over 2, R3. So 0, 0, 1. So you get a negative 1 over 2. And here is 0. And this is our 1 over 2. So that means that, so now you have the identity. And this one is your inverse. Okay, this one is your inverse. Okay, so you just kindly state out. So therefore, your B inverse is, so you must rewrite, rewrite your answers. So you have the inverse of 5 over 2 minus 2, negative 3 over 2, minus 1 over 2, 1, 1 over 2, minus 1 over 2, 0, and 1 over 2. Okay, so this is how we use the ERO process, okay, to find the inverse